Hello and welcome to Odds on La Liga Matchday 4 after the international break. A really good one for Spain. I must say we are back in La Liga with only two teams with 9 points. Alvaro, your team, my team. Cheers to us.
Yeah. Let's keep it like this and let's leave it like this. I mean, let's freeze La Liga's table forever. I mean, it looks good to me. I don't have any problem with being the joint leader of La Liga, but we have to say that obviously there are some other teams that are doing reasonably well. I want to praise Villarreal too, despite dropping two points in the last round. I also believe that Elche has started La Liga considerably well, considering they are newly promoted. A few players are proving their worth, like for example, normally 𝗍𝐭𝐴 gets very praised, but I think Carrera's start at Real Madrid has been as good.
Yeah.
And one thing that hasn't changed since the last time we spoke is that Atlético is still behind, worryingly behind. They haven't had a win in La Liga this season so far, and in all honesty, I'm a bit furious with them because they are ruining some of my safe bets on my ACCAs. I mean, I think that at some point they have to start winning, but when is that moment going to come?
And we have a new legend in La Liga, 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗀𝐻𝐿 Sánchez. I had to read it like 3-4 times. I thought actually that he was retired. But no, he's still active and he's going to play for Sevilla. So a lot to talk about in this show. Stay with us. Tell us your thoughts about the Spanish La Liga, your tips. Of course, press the like, subscribe. Let's go on now with the show. And we start on Friday. Is Sevilla Elche is the first one. This is a tricky and very interesting game, Alvaro, because it's true that Sevilla beat Girona before the international break to ease a little bit the situation after losing to Getafe and Athletic, but the crowd, the fans, were really angry about the closure of the market. 𝗍𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏 is gone to Benfica, and they got 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Sánchez as a kind of replacement. And even the sporting director said that they have to trust the youngsters after getting 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Sánchez. So I'm not sure about the squad. I think they could be in trouble. And Elche is the kind of team that you don't want to face at the moment because, as you said at the beginning, they had a great start. Betis or Atlético de Madrid couldn't beat them. They beat Levante fairly. So it's a great start for Eder Sarabia's men.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Elche has been very good. Let me start by Sevilla. I'm going to take a bow and do the honors to the home side. Look, if Sevilla was a team from the United Kingdom, from the Premier League, probably there would be many articles, plenty of analysis, and plenty of TV and radio shows, sport-related, opening with Sevilla as a subject. Because it's incredible that the team has won 7 Europa Leagues, the last one in 2023, has dropped to this level. It's absolutely insane. It's incredible. And this is for me one of the stories of Spanish football of the last 10 years. The gradual but unstoppable drop of Sevilla. Also, the mismanagement has been very obvious when it came to, who leads the club, who is the owner, the stakeholders. There are plenty of small civil wars between owners, especially between the Del Nido family. And then Monchi's last signings before he left weren't very good, and he left a squad that had many issues already. So Monchi is a great sporting director, but in his last stint at Sevilla, yes, he won a Europa League, but he didn't leave a good legacy. And then Víctor Horta came, and you all know what I think about Víctor Horta and his excitement about Premier League rejects, that we all knew that they weren't going to succeed in Spain, and they didn't succeed in Spain. It's a difficult situation for Sevilla. And I point out that La Liga's, again, salary cap. A team like Sevilla, who has been in the Champions League repeatedly, who, hasn't been perfectly run and all that, but at the same time, they've got I think the salary cap of less than 1 million, which obviously doesn't reflect in reality at the end. But still, I don't know if this is sustainable for them. And if any team deserves the possibility to get some depth in order to go back to what they were, are Sevilla. But we don't talk about this, because in Spain all the narrative is always about Barcelona and Real Madrid, or vice versa. So this is the situation right now. But talking about this game, Sevilla got the first win in the last round. It happened with Girona, not very difficult. And they got 2 players in this end of the market. One of them, Alexis Sanchez, as you say, and the other one, 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏, who is 1 year younger than Alexis Sanchez, still old. Look, obviously they are not signings that they are going to revamp a project, not at all. But I think that they can be okay signings, and let me explain to you why. Because Sevilla doesn't have to play in Europe. So these players can be rested during the week, train properly, and then play only 1 game a week until the Spanish Cup starts. So, considering all the situation, and considering how bad Sevilla has signed, at least they have signed 2 players who have experience and have a certain aura, okay? And again, I don't think that they are going to triumph and succeed at Sevilla, but, you know, I'm very used to seeing plenty of players like 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗀𝗏, for example, and many more arriving in Sevilla, and they bring no value. At least I expect that 𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏 and Alexis Sanchez sometimes to bring some. But anyway, Elche is a difficult team to beat. They've got one of the best scorers of La Liga so far, Rafa Mir, 2 goals. Then their style is very clear. They play from the back, and they don't mind taking risk at the back, to the point that 𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏 and 𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏 are the ones in the team giving more passes. So the build-up play starts with the center backs always, and it's a patient one. Then they've got a good facilitator like Alvaro Rodríguez, 2 assists. You know this player because he's Uruguayan and he comes from Real Madrid ranks. And then they got 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏, who is their leader in ball recoveries, and who seems to set the physical tone and tempo for the team. All that said, I think Sevilla eventually will get something from this game. So my best bet would be an Asian handicap minus 0.25 so for Sevilla, 170, meaning that if they draw, you suffer, have a lose, and if they win, you win. If you want to back Elche somehow, you can get a very similar money backing them for or with an Asian handicap plus 0.25 in the first half, meaning that if they draw the first half, you get half a win, and if they win it, you win. But I prefer to focus on the full-time market in this case, Asian handicap minus 0.25 for Sevilla. But yes, the game is not easy.
Actually, the double chance for Elche is around 1.9, 1.8, in case you don't trust Sevilla, as I don't trust them. Next game on Sunday is Getafe Oviedo, first home game for Getafe in this La Liga. They got 6 points in the first 2 games, beating Sevilla and Celta away. They lost to Valencia, and they lost 𝗂𝐿che, as you said, in the last day of the transfer market. They needed to sell him since they needed to register 5-6 players in the last day, and Oviedo got the first win and the first goal of the season against Real Sociedad. 3 points for Oviedo.
Well, congratulations to them. 3 points in La Liga for the first time in a quarter of a century. They beat Real Sociedad, as you said, 1-0. Den Donker scored that goal. I feel we refer to Den Donker as a clever signing, a footballer that didn't quite, perhaps, succeed in the Premier League the way that he would have wanted, but he is a good player for Oviedo, a team that still concedes a lot of chances, I have to say, to the point that Aaron Escandel is the goalkeeper that has had to do more saves in La Liga so far. Getafe, yes, disappointing defeat. They lost 3-0 to Valencia, and this is something that I find quite remarkable and quite Bordalás-like. Bordalás is the manager of Getafe. Look, Getafe normally has a goal difference that is very close to 0 when they are doing bad and when they are doing well. They started the league in a good fashion, I would say. Like they got 6 points out of 9. Still, their goal difference is 0. Last season, they started the league with a lot of issues. And even when they were like 17th or 16th on table, not too far from the relegation spots, they still have the goal difference of -1, 0. This is the classic style of Bordalás. Normally, these are the parameters of Getafe. I think they are going to win here, to be honest. I'm going to back them as I did with Sevilla before, with an Asian handicap -0.25. This is good enough for me. If they draw, you suffer only half a lose. If they win, you win. 170, I believe that they are going to win. And if they win, I wouldn't be surprised if they won it with a clean sheet. So win to nil for Getafe, 290. Maybe one of those hidden secrets in the odds of this weekend that you should take into consideration.
And later on, we have Real Sociedad, Real Madrid, one of the big games in this match day 4. Francisco, perhaps to be the first manager to be sacked. Very poor start for Real Sociedad, only 2 points, lost to Oviedo, drew with Espanyol and Valencia. They got Carlos Soler and Ángel Herrera, interesting signings in the last minutes. And for Real Madrid, not playing great, I would say, but the perfect start with 9 points. It was tricky, we know, after not having any rest this summer. But their schedule was kind of easy, Mallorca, Oviedo and Osasuna, and 𝗵𝗵𝗏 is on fire, Álvaro. We are seeing him also scoring with France, with Real Madrid. It's almost a safe bet to back him scoring.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to go straight to the point. I mean, Real Madrid to win and 𝗵𝗏 to score pays 317. I like it. I think that 𝗵𝗏 is going to be the top scorer of La Liga. That's your opinion. That's my opinion. Especially now that Lewandowski seems to be a player who's going to miss a number of games this season because he is having some physical issues right now. So I think that I could go for that individually as well. Real Madrid to win alone pays 166, 𝗵𝗏 to score pays 199. If you put it together, you get a very generous return. I like that. I think that Real Madrid has done well, has done okay. If you put together the Club World Cup plus the start of La Liga, you will see that Xabi Alonso has lost 1 game and he has won around 7 or 8 in La Liga, which is, not in La Liga, like in all competitions, which is good. The team, in my opinion, has to be tested. And I don't think Real Sociedad is that big test still, because with Sergio Francisco, they haven't been the best team in La Liga. Let's don't lie ourselves. They lost to Oviedo. And there is one thing that is quite concerning for Real Sociedad right now. It will change, obviously, but they haven't been ahead in the scoreline yet. Real Sociedad is a team that hasn't found it easy to stay in the game so far. They haven't scored first in La Liga this season at all. Maybe 𝗷𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏 is the player who can change that tidal, that dynamic. His numbers for Spain since he scored the winning goal at the Euro are very good. He averages around 0.6 goals per game. With Real Sociedad in the knockout tournaments like the Europa League or the Copa del Rey, 𝗷𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏's number in the last 12 months has been really good as well, but for some reason 𝗷𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏's number with Real Sociedad in La Liga in the last year, they haven't been too good. 1 goal every 4 games. I think that one of the people and players who can change the whole situation for Real Sociedad is Mikel Oyarzabal. But of course, maybe his numbers in Spain are so good because at the end of the day, he plays with top quality players in the Spanish national team, and he enjoys that. You have mentioned the signings. I think that Carlos Soler and Ángel Herrera are very clever signings. I mean, considering Real Sociedad's possibilities and their financial power, bringing themselves Carlos Soler, who is a player who did very well in La Liga, in all fairness, not anywhere else, but in La Liga he did very well, and Ángel Herrera, who is one of those really, really competent midfielders coming from Girona. We have to say that Real Sociedad did their homework late, but they did it very well. I expect Real Sociedad to improve, obviously, but Real Madrid can be too much for them.
Real Madrid is starting the Champions League at home against Olympique Marseille. And the other leader, Athletic, playing at home against Alavés, Basque Derby. Athletic got also a really good reinforcement before the closure of the market. Aymeric Laporte back to Bilbao, very important because Athletic needed some players in the defense during the international break. Nico Williams also got injured with Spain, but the start, Alvaro, has been perfect, beating Betis, Rayo and Sevilla. Now the debut in the Champions League against Arsenal, one of the best games they could have at home. And for Alavés, I could say also is very positive with 4 points. All points, they got them at home against Levante and Atlético de Madrid. Actually, at moments, they were better than Atlético.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think that Alavés has started La Liga well. And it's never easy to play against Alavés in, obviously, at Mendizorroza. And when they visit San Mamés, I mean, it's difficult for them to win there. I know that. But on the other hand, maybe this is not very, very straightforward for Athletic de Bilbao, all right? Anyway, that said, I am a little bit scared about Athletic situation right now because Nico Williams is going to be out for up to 6 weeks, so he's going to definitely miss the game against Arsenal. A few more games in La Liga, and it is said that the aim is to have him back for the game at Signal Iduna Park against Borussia Dortmund. But I don't know, it's a massive blow for Athletic because Nico Williams had started the season really well, especially demolishing Sevilla in round 1. Then I'm scared about our centre backs, the centre back department. Aymeric Laporte didn't arrive in Bilbao, unfortunately, because there was a problem between his parent club and Athletic de Bilbao. The paperwork didn't arrive on time, so Aymeric Laporte right now is not a player from our team. And also 𝗀𝗏𝗏 has been suspended for doping. I mean, he says that he was using a product for the hair loss, a product of his girlfriend, and he's been suspended for 10 months, to the point that right now he's training with 𝗍𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏's team, Derio, because he cannot train with Athletic de Bilbao players or in Athletic de Bilbao facilities. So Athletic de Bilbao has 2 centre backs, Vivian and Paredes, and to a lesser extent some other academy products, to face Champions League and La Liga together. I'm pretty scared about that situation because if Vivian gets injured, then the defense will be in shambles, and we know what happens when the best defense is not available, as it happened at Old Trafford last season. So, that when it comes to Athletic, that said, it's great that Sancet is back because he is fantastic. It's very good that the team is working so well collectively. I think that Areso has been a really good signing to play as a right back. Yuri is showing a great level, and the team in general has proven to be still very competitive. Last season, they barely lost the football game in La Liga, and I think that this season, they are still keeping at least the same spirit and the same style and even the same level. So that's why I'm going to back them to win. It doesn't pay a lot, Athletic, to win 160, and since it's not going to be so easy, and I always, add a suggestion of where the value can be. Maybe they win it in the second half. So Athletic to win the second half pays 205. I prefer to stay with Athletic to win, actually. But I know that some people want a bet of yield. I think so Athletic to win the second half. For those who are brave, 205.
And one of the big games this weekend at the Metropolitano, Atlético de Madrid, Villarreal, with the poor start you mentioned from Atlético de Madrid, only 2 points in the first 3 games, with an easy schedule actually, Alavés, Elche and Espanyol, and they start the Champions League at Anfield, so it could be even worse. Also because Villarreal had a really good start and a really good market, I would say. One of the few teams that had a really good transfer market, even getting 𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, the most expensive signing in club history, 7 points. So danger for Atlético de Madrid. I was listening actually to Simeone's interview recently in a sports radio station in Spain, and I must say that I like his speech. like the power that he still has to convince and to motivate the players. I don't know what is going on, of course, in the dressing room, but it looks like he's still in charge and with power to turn the situation around.
Play Sorloth and Julian together. Play them together for 85 to 90 minutes, and you will see, I think the dividends are coming from there. I spoke about that before. I think that really this is where Atlético de Madrid should find their peace and their recovery in playing these two together. Anyway, Atlético started La Liga so badly that they did a couple of, one at least, panic buy before the market finished, with Nico. And let's see how they do and how they recover. It's strange because I think that Atlético de Madrid had like every element to start La Liga in a very good fashion, not a very difficult calendar in my opinion, and they haven't, and they got the goal difference of -1, something that is very unusual in Atlético de Madrid, and they have conceded an average of over a goal per game. This is their worst start since 2009, and also Baena, one of their star players, is out as well for this game. This would have been the derby or the game of Alex Baena because he played for Villarreal last season. And yeah, I think that this game is going to be quite fascinating. I'm really looking forward to watching this one with the Villarreal team that has signed 𝗷𝗷𝗏𝗀, as you said, their most ever, or the most ever expensive signing. Also, Pepe, a player that has the potential, has scored 2 goals in 3 games. Last season, let's don't forget, he scored only 3 goals. So he's on a good run. 𝗷𝗏𝗏𝗀 hasn't played. And 𝗷𝗏𝗏 scored over 20 goals last season. And still, maybe the best thing they've got is the defense right now. They are joint best defense in La Liga with Real Madrid. So things are working very well for Villarreal. And I'm really looking forward to seeing 𝗷𝗏𝗏𝗀. By the way, this week I've written a tactical analysis of the player, and I know that his attributes, what he can bring. He's very powerful, by the way, and I think that he can be really good for Villarreal. So yeah, this is a team, Villarreal, that has the best goal difference in the league against a team, Atlético de Madrid, who wish they had the best goal difference in the league. Atlético de Madrid would love to have the numbers of Villarreal: 7 goals scored and 1 conceded, or 8 goals scored and 1 conceded, which is great. I think that Atlético at home are going to score, and Villarreal are scoring so many, and Atlético's defense has been so leaky that I think that both teams are going to score. Both teams to score 167.
Great game. This one very tricky for Atlético de Madrid. Indeed, both teams playing Champions League the following week, and Villarreal against Tottenham, also a really good game. On Sunday, we have Celta Girona. Very concerning the situation of Girona. It looks like they really are going to struggle this season. 0 points, 10 goals conceded. Also, for Celta, it's not the best start. Alvaro, 3 points in 4 games. Remember, they played 1 extra game, so still winless, both teams.
Yeah, but I think Celta is the favorite here, Edu, and I totally agree. I mean, the start of Celta hasn't been great. 3 draws, 1 defeat. The other day against Villarreal, luckily for them, they got a last-minute equalizer thanks to Borja Iglesias, El Panda. But yeah, they are playing at home against Girona, and I have to say something about Girona. It's not only about the players and the performances on the pitch. Sometimes I feel that Mitchell is tired. Sometimes I feel that Mitchell is trying to send a message to the players, trying to, reinvigorate the squad, being slightly critical as well in front of the public of his players, but he's not managing to find that trigger, and Girona needs it, because last season, in the second half of the season, they were already quite poor and the results weren't there. If you take the calendar year and you put it together, 2025, Girona is the worst team of La Liga in 2025 in the calendar year. Mitchell is at Girona because he still has credit in the bank. All right, he qualified them for the Champions League around 18 months ago, but they need a result as soon as possible, and I don't think they will get it against Celta. Celta, I know that they've got a few defensive issues. There are going to be some key players in defense missing for Celta, which is not great, and Girona may have a chance as a result of that. But I still believe that Girona has been so concerning as of late, and they have played in such a dispiriting way that I have to back Celta here. Celta to win 172.
Well, it's impossible to back Girona, that's for sure, at the moment. Next game is Levante Betis. Also, Levante is the other team with 0 points so far, especially concerning the defeat against Elche, because they played well against Barcelona and they lost at the last minute the other game against Alavés. For Betis, if we were talking how the fans of Sevilla were doomed by 𝗀𝗵𝗍𝗀𝗀 leaving and Alexis Sanchez arriving, is the opposite. For Betis fans, they were very happy to see Anthony back in the team, the hero last season, qualifying the team for the conference final. Also, Amrabat, who was really good, as we know, in the World Cup, although probably with Man United was the opposite. Anyway, Alvaro, only one win against Alavés at home, so they must win here.
They must, but this game is going to be a pass for me, really. I think that Betis are going to be eventually good. I think they are already fine. But still, this is the kind of tricky game I'm not too sure about. I'm going to be perfectly honest, okay? I think that if I put some money in this game, then I will be regretting it over the week until the game starts. Like, I don't know if I've done the right thing. Betis has been slightly reliable so far, but not the more reliable team. Same thing applies to Levante. I guess that at some point Levante are going to score at least 1 point because they have suffered already 3 defeats. With Levante, are they paying the top flight tax? The tax you pay when you get promoted? Yes and no, because against Barcelona, probably yes, but not after losing to Elche. They know who Elche are. They played against Elche last season. So I really need to see Levante a little bit more. When it comes to Betis, I like them always more at home than away. The additions are good. I mean, Anthony is going to be important for Betis, and I also like the way they have replaced the void that Cardoso left. Cardoso is a holding midfielder who plays for Atlético de Madrid. Big loss for Betis, but they got themselves Amrabat. I believe that Amrabat is good. Take him out from the Manchester United context. Take him out from English football context. Some other leagues are slower, and that doesn't mean that you are a worse player. The Premier League is a very particular scenario right now. Football is very fast. And I think that Amrabat was affected by the fact that no one really knew how to play him. He didn't have the needed continuity at Manchester United, and Manchester United kills off the career of many players right now. We have seen it with endless footballers. Amrabat at Betis is going to be fine. And also, I think that Altamira is covering the gap left by Cardoso very well. He is the leader of La Liga in recoveries. But anyway, all that to say that I believe that Betis has done a good market, but here against Levante, I would prefer not to bet any money. I think that there are better possibilities of making money in some other fixtures.
Perhaps backing somehow Rayo Vallecano in the next game.
Yeah.
Osasuna Rayo is the next one because they are the underdog and they had a great start. We saw how competitive they were against Barcelona. Probably they even deserved to win. Garcia, Barcelona's goalkeeper, was the best player in that game. And even against Athletic, when they lost, they were very competitive. So 4 points for Rayo Vallecano, 3 for Osasuna, thanks to winning against Valencia with Budimir scoring. Also a good idea, perhaps, following Osasuna's games is seeing an under. Only 1 goal in all 3 games played by Osasuna.
Yeah. Let's see, there are a few options over there. The truth is that, for example, the draw no bet for Rayo Vallecano, 215, is an interesting one. And then if you go to the full-time result, Rayo winning 310 is very juicy as well. I guess that the Asian handicap plus 0.25 for Rayo will be the most interesting one, considering how good they have been. So if they draw, you get half a win, and if they win, you win. That for Rayo, I think that could be probably the best bet. Then the double chance doesn't pay a lot for Rayo Vallecano, 157. I would prefer an Asian handicap plus 0.25. I mean, I have to take off my hat with Rayo Vallecano. They deserve to beat Barcelona. They did deserve to beat Barcelona. De Frutos, one of their players, played the other day with the Spanish national side, which is always a sign of good health when you have players who play international football. I like Ratiu, one of the best right backs in La Liga. Isi Palazón is a terrific player, and I think that he's one of the most dangerous players of La Liga when he steps on the edge of the box. I think that Isi Palazón is that player. And, generally speaking, there is nothing I can criticize about Rayo Vallecano. His coach, 𝐿𝐭𝐴, he's one of the most dynamic and best coaches of La Liga. So, and on top of that, they have signed themselves Fran Pérez, who comes from Valencia, the son of Rufete. He scored 1 goal for Valencia in 70 games, and he has already scored 2 with Rayo Vallecano. So, for this game, yes, Rayo Vallecano, Asian handicap plus 0.25, that would be my bet. Otherwise, and here I have a little disagreement with you, over 2 goals, 168. I think that the money is quite decent, and I can see Rayo Vallecano scoring and Osasuna having to score. But anyway, I prefer to back Rayo with, as I said before, a positive Asian handicap of plus 0.25.
We will check next week if we are going to see goals at the Sadar or Reino de Navarra, or it's going to be an under. And the next game is Barcelona Valencia. This game is going to be played at the Johan Cruyff. 6,000 people as the attendance. Barcelona's Camp Nou is not ready, so it's going to be very odd to see Barcelona playing in such a small pitch. Let's see if this affects the team or not. So far, they've been far from brilliant. They suffered a lot against Rayo Vallecano until the point that the best player was the goalkeeper, even if we are seeing a great Pedri or Lamine Yamal, for instance, with Spain, especially Pedri, was brilliant in this international break. And they are having their debut, by the way, in the Champions League against Newcastle. For Valencia, Alvaro, 4 points in the start. I think is all right after beating Getafe. And we should look at the head-to-head, because I was tempted to see, okay, maybe Valencia can put a fight against Barcelona, but last season was 7-1 in La Liga and 0-5 in the Copa del Rey.
Yeah.
So, I remember not sure how confident Valencia's players or manager is going to be facing this game.
I was thinking exactly about that. Last season, especially in the Cup, Barcelona destroyed Valencia. And very little has changed, in all honesty. If anything, Carlos Corberán has been there for a longer time. And probably he has already passed on his ideas and his tactics to a bigger extent than, for example, when they played still in winter and Barcelona destroyed Valencia at Mestalla in a cup game. But anyway, I think Barcelona is the favorite here. It's true, Barcelona are not playing particularly well. They haven't been able to win convincingly. The first game against Mallorca was obviously very affected by the fact that Mallorca lost 2 players in the first half. Then against Levante, it had to be Levante scoring an own goal for Barcelona to win. And then against Rayo Vallecano, Rayo was way better than Barcelona. And Hansi Flick was angry. And Hansi Flick kept the players in the locker room for a few minutes after the game against Rayo, just to tell them that this is not the way. Because he wasn't happy with the performance of Vallecas. Last season, Barcelona was playing on the front foot all the time. The biggest secret of Barcelona last season to win La Liga was that probably they were thinking about the second goal even before having scored the first. So they were that ambitious, and they really need to recover that ambition back. They are a young team. I think that they are overcrowded in some positions. For example, the Dani Olmo and Fermin position, you don't know who is best there right now, considering that Dani Olmo's level right now is a bit low. We have to say that as well. I think that it was a great international week for Spain, but if any player didn't enjoy or the same level as the rest of the players and didn't join how to put this? I mean, wasn't up to the standards or to his standards was Dani Olmo. And a year ago, I would have thought that Dani Olmo was one of the best Spanish footballers. But anyway, all that said, Lamine Yamal, he's been playing good, but not his best level. That's for sure. Against Levante, and especially against Rayo Vallecano, he was at some points nullified. I think that, Barcelona needs to recover that ambition. Focusing on the individual market, I spoke about Lamine. Despite him not having hit his 100% level, he has scored already 2 goals and 2 assists. One thing that caught my eye straight away is the fact that he took a penalty the other day. He took a penalty. That means that Lamine Yamal is going to start taking more responsibilities. He knows that he's the biggest star at Barcelona, altogether with Pedri, probably. And the biggest stars normally takes penalties, free kicks, they increase their numbers like that. I think Lamine Yamal is in that position right now. So this season, backing Lamine Yamal to do something more than playing well, therefore, meaning this, assisting or scoring, is always a good thing, okay? But anyway, for this game in particular, I'm going to go for the following. Barcelona to win, and over 1.5 goals in the second half, 2.0. Otherwise, Barcelona to win at 30 minutes, 191. I think that they are going to win this game. Really? Valencia, look, they beat Getafe, 3-0, that was great. Under Corberán, they are a fine side. Danjuma scored his first goal as well, which is a positive sign. But I think that playing against Barcelona can be too much for them, even if Barcelona is playing at a tiny ground.
Well, and even Lamine Yamal should have scored more goals with Spain, but the level shown by Pedri is outstanding. And for Monday, we have Espanyol, Mallorca, also great level shown by Espanyol in this start of the season. 7 points, and could have been 9 because they were leading 2-0 against Real Sociedad. They also beat Osasuna and Atlético Madrid at home. The odds are all right, I would say, to back Espanyol, although be careful because at one point I guess Mallorca also should improve. It's only 1 point for them, but it's true also that they faced Barcelona and Real Madrid.
And they lost 2 players against Barcelona, and then 𝗵𝗵, for example, couldn't be available for the next game. So those are things that you have to take into consideration. All that said, Espanyol has had a better start, and there is no indication that there are issues at Espanyol's locker room, whereas Mallorca has had a massive public issue as of late. Their captain, Dani Rodríguez, probably you know the story, Edu, but Dani Rodríguez has been, and this is weird because he is 36 years old, but he behaved like a child, criticizing Arrasate for making the decision of bringing in one of the newly signed players for 10 minutes in one of the La Liga games. Arrasate didn't like that, and he put away the captain, Dani Rodríguez, and it looks like the authorities on the coach, as it should be, probably. But the mood in the camp may not be the best. And you are playing against an Espanyol that last season, we have to say, they were good, competitive, and at the end of the season, they produced a fantastic comeback just to stay in La Liga. So I'm going to back Espanyol with an Asian handicap minus 0.25. That pays 193.
𝗵𝗵 also scored, by the way, with Kosovo. Well, this is it for our show with a guest star guest as well, Alvaro. And guys, remember that you can post your own tips in Oddspedia. We have tipster competitions going on. You can win up to 1,000 euros. And also we have rivals ready for you. You can create your own tipster competition and play with your friends. Alvaro, safe bet.
We have a nice cameo, Atlético Villarreal over 2 goals, 132.
Nicer than in France, eh? And the ACCA?
This ACCA hopefully will happen because I like it. Atlético Villarreal, both teams to score. Asian handicap minus 0.25 for Getafe. Asian handicap minus 1 for Barcelona. Altogether 374.
Thank you, Alvaro. Thanks, everyone, for watching. We have already one viewer more in this show. See you next week. Bye-bye.